All right, so today we're diving into something kind of different. We usually talk about like the practical stuff, the how-tos of success, but this time we're getting a little deeper, a little more, I guess you could say, energetic.
It's definitely a different perspective.
Yeah, and it all started with this source you send us called Attracting Wealth, the Power of Energy Over Ability. So, we know you're interested in this idea that, well, maybe our energy has a bigger impact on our financial success than we realize.
Yeah, it's funny, right? Because most financial advice focuses on things like, budgeting and investing and all that practical stuff,
Yeah.
which is all important, of course. But this source is asking, what if there's more to it than that? What if our energy, our mindset, plays just as big a role, maybe even bigger?
Exactly. And that's what we're here to unpack today. So the source argues that it's not enough to just be good at something, to have the skills and the knowledge. It's about the energy you bring to it. Like they believe that positive energy actually attracts opportunity.
Like a magnet, almost.
Yes.
You know?
So say you're an investor, right?
Yeah.
You've got two pitches, both solid business plans, good numbers, all that. But one entrepreneur, they just radiate this like contagious enthusiasm, this belief in their vision.
Oh, absolutely.
Who are you more drawn to?
Yeah, and it's not just about being, a charismatic pitcher.
Yeah.
It's almost like their belief in themselves, their positive energy, it's contagious.
He totally is. And you know who I think of when I think of this? Richard Branson.
Oh, yeah.
He built an empire, and not just by being a good businessman, but by being this like larger than life, optimistic personality.
Exactly. And you wanted to be around that energy. You almost wanted him to succeed.
You kind of did.
And this is where it gets interesting, because this ties into the whole law of attraction idea.
Right,
Like
so-
attracts like. But let's be clear, this isn't about like mystical chanting or anything like that. It's about recognizing that our energy, whether we realize it or not, it influences our actions and it influences how other people perceive us.
It totally does.
Right.
So, are you saying that someone who's coming from a place of positivity and enthusiasm is more likely to take the right actions, to network, to put themselves out there, to persevere when things get tough?
Yeah. And not that opportunities magically rain down on positive people. It's more like their energy makes them more likely to see the opportunity to go after it and then to bounce back from those inevitable setbacks.
To be resilient. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So then what about the flip side?
The what now?
The flip side, the negative energy. What does the source say about how that impacts our ability to attract success?
Well, that's like the dark side of the force. Right?
Yeah.
Because they would argue that negative energy, it can actually repel success.
So basically, we're talking about taking control, right? Not just like sitting around waiting for good things to happen, but actually creating them, cultivating that positive energy.
That's about being proactive.
But how? How do you actually do that? Does the source get into specifics?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting? The examples they give, they're surprisingly practical.
Oh, really?
Like, no magic wands or secret rituals here.
Okay, good.
One of the biggest things they emphasize is actually gratitude.
Gratitude. Okay. Yeah, we hear that a lot these days, but what's the connection to like attracting wealth or success? I don't really see it.
Well, think about it. When you're focused on what you don't have, you're constantly reinforcing that feeling of scarcity, right?
Right. Yeah, totally.
But when you actively focus on what you do have, your health, your loved ones, even something as basic as a roof over your head,
Yeah.
shifts your energy. It's like
flipping the script, right?
exactly.
Instead of I don't have enough, it's I'm grateful for what I have and I'm open to receiving more or something.
Exactly. And that's a really important distinction, because it's not about denying the negative, right?
Right.
It's not about pretending that everything's perfect. It's about consciously shifting your focus to the positive.
Makes sense.
And what's really interesting is that studies actually back this up.
Really?
Yeah. People who practice gratitude, they tend to be happier,
Yeah.
healthier,
Of course.
and, yes, even more financially successful.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that like keeping a gratitude journal or just like, I don't know, taking a moment each day to like appreciate the good things
Yeah.
could actually make a difference, like a tangible difference?
That's what the source argues.
Wow.
And I'm inclined to agree. Now, alongside gratitude, they also talk about the importance of setting boundaries as a way to protect your energy.
Boundaries. Okay. How does that fit into all of this? Like the whole energy attracting wealth equation?
Well, it's about being mindful of the people you surround yourself with. Think about it. Do they lift you up or do they drag you down?
Oh,
Are your conversations full of possibility, or are they mostly complaints?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's like that saying, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Exactly. So the source is suggesting that we need to be really mindful of who and what we allow to influence our energy. Because if you're constantly surrounded by negativity, it's going to be that much harder to maintain that positive, abundant mindset that we've been talking about.
So setting boundaries means like saying no to energy vampires.
Yeah.
Surrounding yourself with people who are like positive influences and consciously choosing to like engage with things that uplift and inspire you.
Yeah. And that includes, by the way, the information you consume,
Oh, interesting.
the activities you engage in, even the physical environments you choose to spend your time in.
Wow.
It's about recognizing that you have a choice in all of these areas.
It really makes you think, like we often think of success as this very linear thing, right? You work hard, you get good at something, and then bam, success, money, whatever that looks like for you. But this whole energy conversation, it's like it adds this whole other layer to it.
Yeah, it's almost like a feedback loop between your energy and your actions. It's kind of like that idea of fake it till you make it, but maybe a bit deeper.
Yeah.
Like it's not about pretending to be something you're not. It's about consciously shifting your energy,
Yeah.
which then influences your actions,
Mhm.
which can then actually lead to real, tangible changes in your life.
So it's not just wishful thinking, it's more like, I don't know, it's almost like priming the pump
Yes,
of opportunity.
that's a great way to put it. It's like you're creating an environment both internally
Mhm.
within yourself and then externally in your world where you're more receptive to those opportunities and honestly probably more likely to take action when you see them.
Okay, so I have to ask this because I know some of our listeners are probably thinking the same thing. Does this mean we should all just quit our jobs, meditate on abundance, and wait for like riches to fall from the sky?
Well, I certainly wouldn't advise that. Remember, this source isn't saying that simply wishing for wealth is going to make it magically appear. It's not about that.
It's about the work.
It is about the work.
But it's about the energy behind the work.
Yeah, it's about aligning your actions
Yeah.
with that positive energy, with that abundance mindset, rather than coming from a place of scarcity and fear.
Yeah, and I think that's a really important distinction. So it's not about the absence of action, it's about action fueled by the right energy.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Wow, this has been such a thought-provoking deep dive, and we've covered so much ground here.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in.
It is. But I think, for you listening, it really all boils down to this. Are you nurturing your energy or are you depleting it?
That's the question, right?
It is the question. And are your thoughts and actions aligned with that sense of abundance or that sense of scarcity?
Because ultimately, that's what's going to make the difference.
Exactly. And I love that this source doesn't just focus on the individual, right? We've been talking about personal energy, but what about collective energy? Like, could a company, a community, even a whole nation attract or repel success based on its collective mindset?
That's a great question.
It is a great question. It's something to think about. But for now, we're going to wrap things up here. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive, and we will catch you next time.